What'd you do today?
It's a parent's job to nurture.
You want to do me a favor and set the table?
And for many parents, nurture means nutrition. But what do you do when your child just won't eat?
Oh, sweetheart.
Today, a mother whose baby is falling off the growth charts.
One more bite before Mama goes to work.
And a family from our past who just couldn't get their 1-year-old to sit still at mealtimes. The frenzy over feeding on What Every Baby Knows.
You want bagel?
Meet the Gibsons, Randall, Lorraine, and little Gabrielle, in for her 9-month checkup. See that girl?
Yeah, the doctor's gonna take a look at you, honey.
Big girl you are. Oh, you have grown so much. How's she doing?
She's doing good.
She's doing
Is
good, yes.
Can I examine her? Can you take off enough?
Yeah.
I guess you want to weigh her today, too, don't you?
Yeah.
Although she'd certainly grown, Gabrielle has always been small. And it's always been a concern for her parents. See how big you are. Yep. 15.4.
15.4, that's good.
Is it?
Yep.
That's great. I want to feed your tummy.
We were just a little concerned about her weight gain. Last time she seemed to be low on the growth charts, falling off a bit.
She's falling off?
Yeah, she's been about a pound, I guess, since her last visit.
Yeah.
So, if that's average or...
Well, she is on the low side of average, but she's well into average. And she's small boned, her head, all of her body is small in proportion. But I bet you were too. So I must say, looking at her, I can't worry very much about her size. But is that what you're worried about, or about her food?
Well, she doesn't eat very much, to say.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you still trying to feed her?
Yeah, well, I stopped breastfeeding about 4 months. Her formula intake varies probably anywhere from 17 to 20 ounces a day still. And then food-wise, she just eats very small portions, and it's almost a struggle to get her to eat, which is a concern. That's why I was concerned what her weight was.
Feeding is such a hot button for most mothers. It begins from the moment of birth with the question, breastfeed or bottle? My answer is that it doesn't really matter which one. What matters is the special opportunity feeding times offer for parent-child interaction. Breastfeeding is best for passing on natural immunities, but it's not possible for everyone. And with the bottle, even dads can pass on the sense of love and security so essential to a baby's development.
Catch a fly ball.
The first touch point in feeding failure comes at about 4 months, when the baby starts looking around and won't stay at the breast or bottle. There's a burst of cognitive development going on. The baby's not just hungry for food, he's hungry for the world around him.
There you go.
The next stage is around 8 months, when the baby's learning to creep, crawl, sit, and an even more wonderful new talent, the pincer grasp. For the first time, the baby can really be in control of what she eats, and it's so exciting. Parents usually lag behind their baby's development, not realizing that autonomy is much more important to the child than food. And when walking starts, which happens around 9 months to a year, letting them do it themselves is the only way to avoid mealtime madness.
Even likes the toast, huh?
Usually, a child who feels in control will eat enough to satisfy her nutritional needs. Of course, parents should always consult with a doctor if they're really worried. but understanding what eating signifies to a child is critical.
You want some juice?
Well, I should be able to, but just make sure.
Battles over eating will continue during the negative 2s and picky 3s.
You want more bagel? No.
But if parents can learn to back off, their children will learn to enjoy mealtimes as times of family communication and fun. They'll also learn the healthy eating habits that will nourish them for the rest of their lives.
Will be at supper time.
Are you still feeding her, or are you letting her feed herself?
We're still feeding her. So that's
Not gonna work.
okay.
Let me show you something. Gabrielle was at such a wonderfully curious stage. She'll put it on, and then she'll put it in her mouth. Now, why don't you play with that achievement if you want her to eat? I showed them how to transfer that natural curiosity and achievement. Here. The lesson? What do you mean she doesn't eat? She just doesn't eat if you're trying to take it
Yeah.
away from her. Look at her pincer grasp, and look at she master it. That was great. That was great.
Yeah, big girl.
This is what you've got to play with.
Yeah.
If you don't let her begin to feed herself, I don't think you're ever going to make it. You're fighting a tide that her activity and her learning is so much more important than anything else, including food, that you better play along with it.
Yeah.
Now, meanwhile, the things that you want her to eat are the most important to give her. And milk, you told me that she had 17 to 20 ounces a day.
Yeah.
That's plenty.
It is
yes,
plenty
it
enough
is.
for a baby.
It's
Okay.
enough to manage her. And then the other thing is protein with iron in it, either soft bits of hamburger or scrambled egg or something. She had egg.
Egg yolk.
Egg yolk.
Yeah, mush.
Well, try the white and be sure it's all
Yeah.
right. But then scrambled egg would be fine.
Good finger food for her.
Yeah, that's right. And then little bits of cheese or little bits of fruit. She needs some fruit
Soft fruits.
for the vitamin C. And then be sure she gets a vitamin that covers vegetables. You've got her covered. And anything she eats in addition is just really gravy as far as her requirements go. The trouble is with somebody like you, it's so much more important to do it yourself that nothing else is as important, including hunger. Next, I'll speak with other feeding frenzied parents and visit a family we first saw 4 years ago on What Every Baby Knows, Timelines. With us today is pediatric nurse practitioner Ann Statler. You know, I think feeding must be the most important issue that parents have with a new baby. They start talking about it even when they're pregnant in childbirth education classes. And I guess every parent must worry about, is my child getting enough? Is that right?
It is. It's sort of like Maddie. There are days that all she wants is macaroni and cheese. You know, macaroni and string cheese or any kind of cheese, American cheese. I don't feel right giving that to her every day.
And Maddie is 10 months old?
Yeah.
And does she feed herself?
She feeds herself. She doesn't want me to feed her. But I mean, macaroni every day, all the time. I mean,
What happens when you try to give her other things?
oh, she might try it, but you know, if she sees macaroni and cheese, she ignores everything else.
It
I
sounds to me like she's exploring and she knows what she wants if she sees it, you said, though.
We worry about the nutritional implications of that. 'Cause,
What do you worry about?
well, whether she'd be getting everything she needs, just from cheese.
Suppose we
and
told
formula.
you, yes, she is. What else are you worried about?
Well,
I guess we sort of feel like bad parents. We're not giving her everything. You know,
Like she's manipulating you? Is this
Or-
part of it?
or maybe that she won't grow up to like a diversity of foods, too, that she might get stuck in a pattern.
Well, I think feeding is a couple of things. I think it's both enjoying picking it up, and so it may be something about the macaroni and cheese that she likes, as well as I think just, you know, the exploration of it. But the kids often go through times when they like one food and, you know, they keep eating that same food. At this point, you know, you just offer the variety and she'll pick and choose, and as long as you look at giving her variety, she, over a period of time, her body will tell her what she needs.
But they say if they offer a variety, she'll always go for the one thing. What about just giving her the thing you want her to eat and not anything else in sight?
Yeah, that might work sometimes.
Would it?
Other
Sometimes.
times she just
What would she do?
just turns her head away and throws the stuff on the floor. Whatever, you
And
know.
then looks to you to make the macaroni and cheese?
Do you ever feel like she's got you like this by the throats?
Maybe because I have an older child, you know, it was 18 months, because I think we went through the same kind of phase. I think that over time it all works out because they start to imitate older kids eating other foods and seeing a wider variety, and I find that he explores a lot of things and doesn't have like this mono diet. Whereas I think back to 10 months, you know, it was more that way. He would just have pasta, that's it. You know, and we were joking that he likes pesto now, you know, and
He
other
likes
things.
what?
Pesto. I mean, that's an intense flavor. It's only 18 months. He's liked it for a couple months. And back when he was 10 months, it was only like, you know, plain macaroni with nothing on it. So I do think as they get older, like Ann said, that they do start to experiment more. But I think they're so young that you can't like extrapolate from that they're going to be like, you know, very rigid and fixed and not experiment.
Can he eat things on our plate even though he doesn't have teeth yet? I mean,
Sure.
if
If they're soft. If you
Soft?
think about the
Okay.
fact that, you know, he can now pick it up with his fingers and put it in his mouth. It's like little Gabrielle that we saw. She was just so thrilled with herself, and that's what,
She could do
you know,
it.
that's what he's working on. How about, does anybody worry when they go to eat if they're going to choke on
Oh,
the,
totally.
on whatever they eat?
All the time.
Yeah.
Some of the softer, the sort of soft biscuits, he'll bite off a piece and it'll
Yeah.
get stuck on the back of his tongue and
Yeah.
he'll start choking. And
But fortunately, they have a really strong gag reflex, so it looks scary to us, but that's what their mechanism is for handling that.
Do you know what to do if they do choke?
Heimlich maneuver?
No. You can hurt them
Back
with too
blows.
much of a Heimlich. I just put them over my lap and whap them on the back real hard, and that usually gets rid of it. And you can even tilt them up if you
Yeah.
have to.
But you don't even really have to do that until, you know, if they're not making any noise, you sure do. But if they're just sitting there and they gag it, you know, they just get it up themselves.
It's working.
so as long as they're gagging, it's okay. It's
Gagging
like,
is
stop
good.
gagging. And they can't breathe.
Turn
Right.
blue.
Right, so they can just get right
time
up
to
themselves.
move.
Yeah.
Call 911.
Right.
That's good advice.
What do you think a variety is really necessary for a baby? I mean, is it important for it to get variety in there?
I don't think it's so much important to get variety right now, but I think it's important to present variety. So when you eat a variety. When you present them things, give them a variety. And then they eventually just sort of pick up.
I was worried when I brought Alex to the pediatrician. He's 7 months old, and at
6 months he weighed 16 pounds, and I mean, I know other kids that weighed a lot more than that, and I didn't know if I was feeding him enough. I nurse him 6 times a day, and I introduced solids a month ago, and he eats them twice a day. I wanted to know when I could start, I guess, introducing a lot more food and less breast milk. I don't want to have to nurse him 6 times a day.
I mean, you certainly at this point could offer 3 meals a day and 2 little snacks, and you know, I think that again he'll get into that practicing and loving it, and he'll just himself cut down on the breastfeeding.
I mean, as far as introducing foods, you don't really know how much is enough.
Right.
Like a tablespoon, 3 tablespoons. How much does he need to eat to get his daily allowance of?
But what's nice for him is that he's so interested in, you know, trying out something new. He's at a good stage to try it out. You know, you do it at first, and he enjoys the texture of it, and then he can start doing some of it himself. So for him, it's a fun task. It's not so much the nutritional part initially.
Oh, okay.
You think you feel more responsible because you are breastfeeding? Do you?
Yeah.
And so it's a little harder to turn it back to him and follow him.
Because I think when you're breastfeeding, you really don't know how much they're really getting.
Yeah. You said that they've evened themselves out over time. How can you be sure of that?
Well, they don't actually know what the 4 food groups are, and they don't actually know what it is they're supposed to eat, but their body will tell them. So for instance, if they're missing something, they'll want something. As the foods become more a part of their nutrition and they've got the variety, their taste will go more. So if they, you know, if they need more vitamin A, they might go more for such and such a vegetable, you know, and their body will tell them that. And we do that as adults. All of a sudden we crave something and we think, gee, I'm really craving this. It's because we might be a little low in something.
But can a parent, can you be sure of that, Rose?
Well, I'm sort of worried about what about the things that we shouldn't be giving her. You know, she always goes for my coffee cup. I know she wants to try it out, but I mean, I can't give her coffee. I mean, is she
But
just...
haven't you got another cup?
Well, the other one is sugar, though.
That's
I mean, I think that's the thing. That's the big taboo. It seems like in our culture, oh, you can't give them sugar, and we have a lot of friends with babies and stuff. It's like, oh, you know, they can't have a bite of ice cream or something, and.
I mean, I think that there are certain foods that you can just stay away from because of allergies, or, you know, they're not good for the children at that age, but they're very few.
You know, it's so obvious as we talk about it that feeding is such a passionate interchange between parents and kids. And the obvious thing is that we're passing on so many values to our children while we're feeding them. And, you know, instead of seeing it as losing the child and losing control, which I think is what happens as a parent, maybe see it as, look what we're gaining. You really have to be ingenious to stay ahead of them. It was 4 years ago that I met the Clarks, Anne, Lawrence, and an active little 1-year-old named Eliza.
Can you walk to me? Come on.
Eliza certainly kept her parents on their toes.
Hey, Eliza.
And like Lorraine Gibson, her mother was worried she wasn't getting enough nourishment.
She throws things on the floor, squashes them around on her high chair, and she's now off formula, and we're concerned that she's not getting all the vitamins that were all set in the formula. So we're just, you know, would like to know how you can make sure that she's getting enough nutrition.
We took our cameras to the Clark's kitchen to observe. And Eliza's performance was something to behold. Anne tries to feed her, but Eliza wants no part of it. Lawrence gets into the act, but nothing works until they let her have control.
Yeah.
She covers her body with it.
Here you go.
Mom doesn't really learn her lesson, though. Eliza is like the conductor of a symphony, while her parents play 4th string in the back row of the orchestra. Anne tries to change the tune, and it works for a while.
She usually keeps away from the rhyme and just goes for the melon. Chews on a little bit,
But Eliza spots an accompanist.
it's Gracie. Gracie loves a melon, so.
Whom she teases for a moment, then
Oh.
Eliza is calling the tune, which is just the way she wants it. And just the way it should be for a child's growing autonomy. Next, we'll find out if Eliza really did eat enough to survive 4 years later. And we'll see if the Gibsons are still frenzied over feeding on What Every Baby Knows, Timelines. Four years ago, Ann and Lawrence Clark were worried their baby wasn't eating. And now...
Eliza, time for breakfast.
Eliza's 6 years old, about to enter kindergarten, and quite the independent young lady.
Good job. What do you want to do today?
I'm going to get ice cream.
You want to get ice cream?
Is she eating better now?
I'm hungry.
Well, see for yourself. As for what her parents have learned,
Once Dr. Brazelton pointed out to us that it wasn't a food issue and that it was a control issue, and we let that go, then things got a lot better. She started to eat, she was not trying to control us, and things went along smoothly.
She's a great eater now. I mean, she says she's hungry, she'll eat snacks, she'll eat also dinner.
You want to go get a banana? Yeah. She'll try new things, weird things like dips and things that kids usually might not be interested in.
It's really become, not a problem anymore, basically.
Yummy. Meals yummy with a baby.
And the Gibsons?
Let's have a little snack. Okay.
Well, Gabrielle is still on the petite side, and she probably always will be.
Yeah. Oh, big girl sitting in the high chair.
But she is eating better.
Mama's having a snack too.
Because like the Clarks, Randall and Lorraine have become far less frenzied over feeding.
Eating like a big girl, look at you. You gonna give me one?
They're letting Gabrielle do more herself,
Thank you.
which nurtures her body, of course,
Here you go. Yeah.
but something perhaps even more important, the spunky, irrepressible spirit of a healthy, growing child.